Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review of the new Colourpop and Shayla Perception palette. I was so excited for this palette. It's a gorgeous palette. It's like something new and different for Colourpop. So yeah, I'm going to be reviewing it, swatches of all the shades, and showing you guys how I got this eye look today using the palette. So you guys want to know all my thoughts on the new Perception palette, then just keep on watching. Alright, so this is the newest Colourpop palette in collaboration with Makeup Shayla, and I absolutely love the marketing behind this palette, like the design of it, all of the yeah, just like all of the ads I guess for the palette, and the video that Shayla had in her launch video of this palette. Just the intro to it, it looked like a music video. It was so awesome. I just think it's like a whole kind of different vibe for Colourpop, and I'm totally loving it. I think it's just like very like sophisticated, and like a lot of Colourpop palettes are like really cutesy and I absolutely love them, but this is just like a lot more sleek and like edgy. I love it. So this is the Perception palette. It's a $23 palette. Right now it's sold out on the Colourpop site, but according to Hotfire Makeup on Instagram, it's going to be restocked on May 11th. So it's going to be restocked really soon. So this has 16 shades in it. It has 4 matte shades and 12 shimmer shades, but some of the shimmer shades can be basically considered mattes, like this one, Stallion and Shade. They're basically matte shades that have a little bit of glitter to them. And what I definitely love about this palette is that you have all of your neutrals, like this whole half of the palette. This half of the palette, I'm looking at my monitor. So this half of the palette is all neutrals, but then you have a lot of color to play with, and it's also colors that aren't super intimidating. Like they definitely show up very colorful, like you have blue, you have purple, you have green, but they're colors that are very beginner friendly if you're newer to color, or if you're like me and you basically just wear neutrals all day every day, but you want some color every now and then. They're colors that are very easy to work with. They're not something that's super out of your comfort zone if you don't wear a lot of color. And then all of the shades are actually on the palette. They're just labeled right here. They're also on the back too, I just noticed that, but they are right on the palette, which is really nice. And then you do get a mirror. Shayla was really emphasizing that in her reveal video, that she definitely wanted a palette with shades labeled and then also a mirror. So really love that. I think it's definitely worth the $23 from just the layout, all the colors you get. And you guys know I really like the Colourpop formula. But let's go ahead into the swatches so you guys can see all of the different shades, all the different undertones, and a little bit more about the palette. Alright, so getting into swatches of the Perception palette, I'm going to start off with the first row, which is all shimmers. And the first shade here is Unbothered, which is the lightest shade, or the lightest shimmer shade. The next shade is called TF, and it's a gold shimmer shade. Super pretty, super pigmented. This shade is called Titus. It's like a gray chromish color. And then the next shade is called Stallion, and this is a black shade that has a hint of blue sparkle to it, but you can definitely use it with basically any shade in this palette, and it's just going to translate into more of a black shade. Starting out with the second row, we have Spill the Tea, which is a rose gold shade. It's like a very awesome everyday lid color. Then we have the shade Diva, which is a copper shade. So that is Diva. These are just super pigmented and gorgeous. The next shade is IE, which is kind of an olive tone. So that is IE, and then the last shade in the second row is a blue color called 14. It is a really pretty like shimmery blue, but it's not as, neither of these two shades are as shimmery as like some of the other shimmers. The first shade in the third row is called Strut and Slay, and this is a deeper rose gold shade. It's super pretty with some of those purple tones. Then we have the light brown matte shade Culture. I've been starting out every eye look with this, and this builds up so quickly. Next we have the shade Sassy, my favorite shade in the palette. It's what's on my lid today. I love colors like this. This is kind of like my favorite kind of eyeshadow color ever. And then next we have the shade September, which is a purple shimmer shade. It's a little bit of a lighter purple shade too. And we have our last row of mattes, and this shade is Revenge. This is what I also have in my crease today, and it layers on really nicely with the shade Culture. And then you have the shade Thick, which is an orange matte shade. Then we have the shade Played Out, which is kind of like a cool tone chocolate brown shade. And then the last shade is called Shade, and it's kind of similar, but it is a little bit more purple, and it has some purple glitter in it, but it still goes on pretty matte. I have it in my outer corner today. So those are all 16 shades. They all swatch really nicely. They're all really pigmented. They're just really consistent. My arm is not used to having this many swatches on it at once, so I don't know what to do with it. But these are all the shades. They're so pretty. I think they all look exactly like they do in the pan. Probably the only shade that doesn't look the same is Sassy, which is on my lid today. Like once you build it up, you're gonna get a lot more of that green tone. But those are all of these swatches. Let's go ahead into the tutorial so you guys can see how I got this eye look using the Perception palette. All right, so getting right into the palette, I'm really excited for this eye look because there's been one color in here. It's this shade Sassy. I love colors like this. Anytime I wear color, that's my favorite color to wear. I have a couple different palettes that's like the one pop of color in there, and I absolutely love it. So that's going all over my lid. But to start off, I'm gonna go in with this matte brown shade called Culture, and just go in with my Sigma E40 like I do every single day. I need to buy like 6 more of these brushes because I wash it every single day because I refuse to buy more than one blending brush. But this is like an orangey kind of brown, like a really warm brown. Anytime I talk, I feel like I do my shadow a little bit messy. So let me go ahead and apply this. So my crease brush just completely fell apart, but I'm just gonna put that back in there, and we're gonna go into the next shade. And I'm gonna use the shade Revenge, which is like this reddish brown color. And I just want more of a dense, precise crease brush, especially because this has some red in it. I don't want to carry it up too high. Just pack it on to the outer corner and then press it into my crease. Especially for these bolder shades, there's not like a lot of fallout on my face at all, which is definitely really nice, especially since I have the rest of my makeup on already. And these layer together really nicely. I love when like the mattes in a palette just make sense together and don't like clash with each other, so you can build those up nicely. All right, so let's go in with the shade Sassy. I just want to go ahead and apply this with my finger. Like the swatch is so pretty. And then I'm gonna go in with a wet brush too, but I just want to see what it's gonna look like. And we're gonna go in with a Morphe M501, no, M124. They have very long names, but this is my favorite crease brush, or lid brush, I mean, for packing on shadows. So I just wet that real quick with some Fix Plus, and then just going into the shade Sassy. I love it so much. It's so pretty, and I just love what it looks like with an orange crease. I've personally been so excited to do this eye look and get this palette to do this specific look because I have not worn more than anything like a neutral eye in the past like month and a half because of my allergies, and it's finally like this week gone away, so I can play with more eyeshadows just because my eyes have been puffy. So like 2 weeks ago, this eye look would have just looked like, I don't know, a green mess because my eyes were so swollen. I'm gonna take a little bit of a deeper shade. I don't know if I want to use a shade or Played Out. Shade is the one that is a little bit purpley, and then Played Out is brown. So I think I'm going to go with the shade. I just like a little bit more color in there. So we're going to go with this shade, and I'm using a Luxie tapered blending, just like a smaller packed blending brush. I don't want to get too much product on my brush because these are really nicely pigmented. And then I'll blend that out in right a second. All right, so the eyeshadow is mostly done. I want to add something else. So I'm going to go in with Unbothered. I just want like a little bit of light. So I want to go in with Unbothered. I just added like a tiny drop of Fix Plus to my brush so I can get a little bit of that highlight shade in my inner corner to really stand out. All right, so lashes are on. Moving on to the lower lash line, I'm probably just gonna use whatever I used for my crease. I'm gonna start off with Culture, the light brown shade. I'm probably gonna carry that a little bit lower. I'm using kind of a little bit of a bigger brush, hopefully. Yeah, I don't want to drag it too far down. And then I'm gonna take the darker brownish purple shade, the shade that has that sparkly little hint to it, and I'm just gonna apply that in the outer edge of my eye and blend that in with Culture. I really like that. I didn't think like to do purple and green, but those colors go together so nicely. All right, so lower lashes are done. I don't want to like blink because it's still drying, but anytime I apply the Bad Girl Bang, it has lash glue on it, so it looks really gross right now, but anytime I apply the Bad Girl Bang to my lower lash line, it literally looks like I just took some Ardell Demi Wispies and put them on my bottom lashes. But as soon as it dries, it totally calms down and just looks really like spread out. But that is everything for this eye look. I'm so obsessed with this color. I love this color combination so much. I love this lid color so much. And then I just love that there's so many neutrals in there too, because I've been using those and it's super easy. It's like such an awesome everyday palette. Such an awesome not everyday palette, like colorful palette too. But I'm gonna go ahead, let me put on some highlighter and some kind of lip color, and then we'll finish up with this review. All right, so here's the completed look with the Perception palette. On my lips, I'm wearing Smashbox Fair Game, and then I just topped that off with the CoverGirl Katy Kat Gloss in the shade Cantaloupe. Super cute packaging for that. But that is my lip color with the eyeshadow, and I love this eyeshadow look. Like, I've been ready to do this eyeshadow look as soon as I saw the palette, just because I love that shade Sassy. It's so pretty, and then I really want to play with some more of those colorful shades, like this blue shade. Super, super pretty too. And I did this live on my Instagram just because I have the palette right in front of me, the Mario palette. Let me just show you guys really quickly the comparison of those two blue shades, because I know that blue shade has been really popular in a lot of palettes recently. This is kind of impromptu, but some people might be curious. This is the Makeup Shayla shade of blue, and then this is the Makeup by Mario palette shade of blue, in case you guys are wondering. This one from Colourpop, that's a lot cheaper, is a lot more pigmented, just saying, and I think it's like very, very pretty for a lid color. So I'm definitely excited to play with that too. I'll probably do an eye look with that on my Instagram really soon. I just find this palette like very inspiring. Like, I was super excited to play with the different colors in here. All of the colorful shades are really not that intimidating is the best way that I could put it, at least to me. Maybe just because I love like purples and greens and blues. I just really love the variety in here. This might actually be my favorite Colourpop palette, and I have so many Colourpop palettes. Like, I have them all right here behind me. I have a lot of Colourpop palettes and I use them all the time. And this might actually be my favorite one just because we have so many different shades. We have that mirror. We have like matte shades, we have a lot of shimmer shades, a lot of different looks that you can get with this palette. So I'm definitely really impressed with the palette. I think all the shades apply really nicely. All the mattes go on really nicely, not patchy, and they all blend out and layer on really nice too. So I really, really enjoy that. And I will say with some of the shimmers, if you want a very like pigmented foils, like really metallic eye look, you do want to go in with a wet brush. Otherwise it's going to be more of like a natural kind of eye look. They don't go on like super foiled right off the bat, but anytime I apply them with a wet brush, I have no issue with them. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you like those like very creamy, buttery shimmer shades, you're going to want to go in with a wet brush to get that kind of eye look. Definitely super easy. You don't have to like pack it on for like 10 minutes at all. If you just go in with a wet brush, it's no issue. So that's something to keep in mind in case you guys want like very, very pigmented eye looks. But overall, it's like a really nice quality. It doesn't feel like a $23 palette. It feels like a $50 palette. If you told me this was $50, I wouldn't be disappointed with it, honestly, because the packaging's gorgeous, the shades in here are gorgeous, and it applies really, really nicely. Alright guys, so that is everything for my review of the Colourpop Shayla Perception palette. I am really enjoying this palette. If you guys are curious about it, I definitely would recommend picking it up when it gets restocked. If you guys purchased this palette, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. Let me know if you picked up anything else from this collection in the comments below too. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.